Hi, this is Smash Rundown. If you enjoy movie reviews, short and trailer reactions, you're in the right place. So why not subscribe and hit the like button down below.
Today we're going to be reviewing the original Scream. Scream is a 1996 slasher film directed by Wes Craven, starring Neve Campbell as Sidney Prescott, David Arquette as Dewey Riley, and Courteney Cox as Gail Weathers.
A year after the murder of Sidney's mother, a new string of murders are committed by the mysterious Ghostface, a killer who uses horror films as part of their deadly game, The Good. This movie has a lot of overt self-awareness with a very 90s feel.
Definitely.
And obviously that's very nostalgic for us because we grew up in the 90s. So as much as some people grew up with Jason or Freddy, we really grew up with Scream. This is our quintessential horrors.
Oh yeah. I remember that Halloween everybody had a ghost face mask. The movie is really, really funny. I was surprised at how many times I was laughing throughout the movie. And it is a horror movie, and it's a tribute to horror movies. It's really in that vein where it's like paying homage to everything that's come before it. But at the same time, it's so funny. And it almost shouldn't be that funny and that good.
It doesn't take itself too seriously. There's other horror movies in the universe of Scream, so it makes it feel more real.
Yes.
And thus more scary.
Yes.
And like you say, surprisingly funny for a horror movie.
And I think you can largely attribute that to Matthew Lillard's performance.
Matthew Lillard was great. He's quirky, but really funny at the same time. But not funny as in like over-the-top stupid funny, but rather funny as in like creepy funny.
Yes. He knows exactly what he's doing.
I was surprised to see him in a horror because he feels more like a goofy, friendly, from Shaggy days. Then this predates Shaggy, right?
This predates Shaggy.
But it's just that even though it predates Shaggy, I always think of him as Shaggy and like goofy and funny and silly without a paddle, those kind of things.
Yeah.
Versus this, now going back and actually having that history of him, it's like, okay, makes sense why he was a funny character because he played that not so, but within the realm of who he is as an actor.
Yes.
And it was just great.
He fits in with horror movies for me because I've got this distinct memory of him being in Scream, being in The Curve, being in 13 Ghosts. So Matthew Lillard, yeah, he works in horror movies so well because he is creepy. Even though he is perfect for Shaggy, he's still creepy but also nuts a bit.
Yeah, we definitely see him very different. For me, it's just the comedy funny guy that's nice and reliable and chilled. This, not so much. So it was interesting to rewatch it because of that, because my feelings towards the actor is very different, so I saw the character differently.
Yes.
And a little because of Matthew Lillard's character and other parts in this, Ghostface itself is very realistic because we know that it's probably a teenager from the start. And Ghostface fucks up so much during the killings and stuff, like gets hit in the face with fridges, or trips over himself, or runs and stabs a door instead of the person because they can't stop that momentum. So they feel like a teenager.
Yes.
And it's kind of creepy because once again it makes it feel more real.
Definitely.
And I think that the pacing of the movie also helped with that because they escalated. And even the temper tantrums that they have on the phone with the pacing kind of makes you feel like, okay, this person's kind of young, doesn't really know what they're doing. There's some spontaneity and impulsiveness.
Yes.
But it was perfect because we know they're a teenager.
An unstoppable force like Michael Myers who just walks through everything is creepy and scary. But these are kids and this could happen, and it's almost more terrifying because it's more real.
Yeah. Because Michael Myers is very distant because he feels magic or otherworldly because of that. Whereas they feel very like real humans that maybe, this could happen.
Yes. It's not going there where they get upset, they get angry, they trip over stuff, something hits them in the face, they're disorientated for a bit. It's real.
And even in the end when they're stabbing each other and one goes a little bit too deep, I know why you're laughing already, and they didn't really think about the consequences of stabbing each other too much and plan it out very well because they're teenagers. They don't think they can die. they don't think about the consequences of their actions very well. So you can see that they hadn't really thought it out too much.
Yes. I think that scene in total was my favourite. Even Matthew Lillard on the phone with Neve Campbell saying, "My mum and dad are going to kill me." Like,
they're going to be so mad.
Yeah, how? What? Like, come on.
And that brought it back into the realism again, as in these are real people who have parents and stuff, and once again are teenagers who didn't think past their nose. Yeah, peer pressure.
Yeah, great.
When they said that, I laughed. I'd forgotten that was said in from the first time I watched it. So when I watched it now again and they said that, I just hosed myself because I'm like, of course that would be the excuse.
Peer pressure.
It's brilliant. And, sadly it's probably true for him as well.
Yeah.
And another part that I really enjoyed as well is the very first scene, or the very first act.
Yes.
With Drew Barrymore. Because she was a big actress, she was a big actress then, she's still big now. You don't expect her to die so early on in the movie. So it was very shocking because I'm like, okay, she's the main protagonist. And then she died and I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Yes, and it was cruel and it was shocking. And it was funny at times and then it got not funny. And
dark and scary, yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter what your preconceptions of the movie was. After that scene was finished, you're like, okay, this is actually going to be dark.
Yeah. And I think that not enough people speak about how cruel they were.
Yes.
Because, they got her up so her parents can find her. They play games with Sydney the whole time when the boyfriend drops the phone.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't him really because of the call logs and all of that. They were just so cruel. But they were living in this fantasy world where it was just another horror movie to them. And they were going to become famous.
Yeah.
The mind games and everything. So this wasn't for me a pure horror. It was more of a thriller because of those mind games. Because of the taunting on the phones before the actual murders.
Yes. And I absolutely loved how at one point in the movie you could have suspected any one of them doing it. It was, if you watch the movie, it's pretty clear it's Matthew Lillard and
her boyfriend.
They're the killers. They look devious. They look like bad guys. They
say a load of weird shit.
But everybody has a moment. Even Dewey has a moment when he's walking off with Gail Weathers, where he shines the torch under his face and he gets like a sinister look and says, "Why are you scared to be alone with me?" Like, could he be the killer? So everybody has like this moment where, oh no, are they? Okay, no, they're not. The principal tries on the mask at one stage. Like, why is he doing? So everybody has a moment where it's,
maybe.
What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Are you really a killer? So to build that throughout, that was very, very well done.
Yeah, because like you say, you kind of knew who the killer was going to be, but they throw in so much doubt with everyone throughout the movie that it's like, maybe I'm wrong, and you're second guessing yourself the whole time.
And then looking at the bed, look, it's a 90s movie, and the acting at stages was a bit iffy-ish. Look, not throughout the movie, just once or twice. But it did pull me out a little bit, and I think if you watch the movie now, you would probably notice it a bit more than you would have maybe noticed it in the 90s.
For me, it didn't really pull me out because the movie didn't take itself too seriously. So for me, that was okay.
So overall, the movie has a very simple premise, but it's executed very well. It's a little bit of a twist that you can see coming, but it's done very well, and it's enjoyable.
And I think that's what you were supposed to see coming. You were supposed to guess and doubt yourself a lot throughout the journey, and I think they did that. So in terms of ratings, I'd give it an 8.
I'm going to give it a 7.
So it leaves it with a 7.5, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Who should watch it? I think, despite it being a 90s movie, a 90s horror, it's still well worth watching now. Yeah. If you remotely enjoy horrors, you should watch it. Especially because of its overt self-awareness and the satire throughout the movie.
And it's become a cultural icon.
It's a classic, so it's definitely worth watching.
Yes.
And you'll get some nostalgia or some introduction to new concepts like DVD stores and stuff we don't see now.
Not a DVD store. Was it a VHS store?
Was it a VHS store?
It was a VHS
store.
store.
Oh my goodness, yes. nostalgia for people our age, and maybe some introductions, reminders of how technology has changed.
Yeah. So let us know in the comments down below, what's your favourite scary movie?
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.
Later.